to Beat the Buzzer, episode 2. Thanks for all the support from the first one. It was really good fun, and obviously we had a lot of fun putting it all together, and we're back. We're back for round 2. Obviously a bit of trial and error in this one. We're going to add a point system. We're going to talk about that coming up. 3 new questions, 1 new panelist. As always, I'm Lyle Swithenbank, to introduce myself. And my awesome panel for today, we have returning Corban Ford. We have Brad Hardin, and in his debut, Lucas Gaynor. Welcome to everyone. Lucas, how are you feeling about joining the Beat the Buzzer franchise?
I feel great about it, honestly. I've been really craving some good NBA debate. I was mentioning to Lyle before that July NBA talk is bad. October's right around the corner, so I'm looking forward to putting on the gloves with these guys today, man. I really can't wait.
Too right. And Brad, returning, you've had a week to rest and recover, and how are you feeling for round 2?
Oh, I'm ready. You got the Cardinals jersey on. They on a little hot streak right now, so I want to continue my hot streak from last week to this week. So I'm ready to spit that, like Dylon says, hot fire today.
I'm looking forward to that. And Corban, returning again, excited. How are you feeling? Mixed emotions?
Not really mixed. I kind of feel like I'm the returning champion, So, with that confidence, I'm just trying to keep this streak going, and yeah, regrettably, there's no Lakers wheelhouse questions, but I'm trying to show how versatile I am as I claim this second unofficial victory in my head.
Well, there will be a victor today. We're adding in a point system, and I become points master, self-proclaimed points master, and obviously ruler of the universe in this small Zoom. So prepare for my points delegation at the end. If you're tuning in for the first time, for those watching, basically there's a point. This is a debate versus, I suppose, a bit of comedy in it, a bit of banter, a bit of trials and tribulations, breaking down NBA topics that we've worked out, hot topics that are going around the league at the moment. Each panelist gets 2 minutes to state their case per question. At the end of that, one person, whoever gets in first, gets a 1-minute rebuttal. So they can say whatever they want. If they don't like someone's point, they can tell us. If they want to add more to their point, go for it. The world's their oyster for that 1 minute. After that, I delegate some points and we move on to the second question and finish up with that third question. And then we announce the winner of the episode. As to the prize, still a work in progress. We will work that out as we work through, and probably some sort of pretend NFT thing, I don't know, crypto and all that sort of carry on. So we'll see how we go. That's what kids these days are doing. But without further ado, let's get into it. Question 1, we're going to be kicked off by Brad in this one. Question number 1, Kevin Durant, he's the hot topic of the last couple of months. He's made himself the hot topic. Him and the Nets came out and have advised that he is returning for the season after the trade request. I suppose my question to you is, can KD and the Nets make it work, and what are your expectations?
Yes, at the end of the day, no matter how the media spins this or we try to read into Kevin Durant's intention or believe any of the rumors that have been placed out there, whether he retires or not, when he plays, problem on the Nets. He's not. So, yes, he can absolutely work because he's still a consummate professional to this day. Health is the biggest component for this team. We have not seen what this roster is truly capable of. And when healthy, KD is a top 3 player on the planet. As far as in the game of basketball, there's no scorer ever like him in the NBA. So the narrative's just been following him since he obviously back-to-back championships for the Golden State Warriors. I think after seeing Golden State win last year, he had to really take a look at the situation that he's currently in Brooklyn. You have a relatively new coach in Steve Nash that really hasn't seen him improve, but he has high expectations because of the roster he has. He's still at the helm. The offense has been the best in the NBA, but defensively they're bad. They did slightly improve, but he's won 40 games in his first 2 years. It's just, you got to make it work. I think about will KD make it work? It's really not up to him. It's really, can Steve Nash with a healthy roster continue to improve upon the offense, get better defensively with whatever scheme that they create, and turn this into something that is going to make worth for KD staying or maybe Kyrie not wanting to be traded. So at the end of the day, yes, it's going to work. It's going to work. It's just a matter of how successful they'll be. It's really curbed by the man at the helm, which is Steve Nash.
And there it is. The first one done well under time. About 20 seconds left on the clock, which, I mean, succinct, precise, love the takes, exactly the same. It is a watch this space sort of situation. Who we got next? Corban, kick us off. Lucas can finish off this question.
I got to start. Excuse me. Got to clear my throat first. Got to start by saying great respect for Brad. You know, love him, basketball analyst, all of that. I have to push back a little bit only because I agree with Brad. The talent is there. It's Kevin freaking Durant, right? Slim Reaper, the servant, whatever he wants to call himself. Like, that's what he is, right? He's also soon to be 34 with, sadly, a built-up injury history. 55 games last season, you know, and playing heavy minutes down the course of them to get swept in the first round, right? 35 games the year before that, missed the entire season the year before that. His 30, since turning 30, have not been great. A combined 90 games over 2 seasons. Not, that's quick math. Yes, I did it right though. Okay, cool. Like, that's not super great. And yes, while he's on the floor, you know, 29.9 points last year, which for him would be in his top 5 among seasons that he's had, you know, with his illustrious scoring. But again, the injury history is there, and he's looked to be the main player on this team. Kyrie, friend, you know, great player in his own right. Top 25 player. I'd say top 20, wherever you put him there on talent alone. But for one reason or another, he's also missed a variety of games and chunks of the season. So then you look at the supporting cast, without Kevin Durant and Kyrie, they're not so super looking, you know? Ben Simmons, whatever we have, it's been 2 years since seeing him play. Don't know where his confidence level is, say nothing with basketball skills, right? We know he's a great player, but it's been a minute, right? Joe Harris come back from injury. Seth Curry, you know, Royce O'Neal. Like, I can go down the list of players, all solid in their own right, but this team is heavily reliant on Kevin Durant. And we're talking just on the health, not even on the behind-the-scenes stuff. If stuff happens and they go on a losing streak, is Steve Nash gone? Is KD available again to request a trade? What happens to Kyrie? Just think there's too many questions.
Oofed and well in time as well. Everyone's just sort of just testing the waters on that. Good more propositions, I suppose, posed to us, which, again, the Nets are a bit of a moving beast at the moment. We don't know what we're looking at. But, Lucas, finish off this question. What's your hot takes on this one for us about Kevin Durant?
You know, as a Celtics guy, I'm gonna start my time by showing my Jaylen Brown towel because, you know, he will remain on the Boston Celtics. Had to get that out of the way there. But I would say I fall somewhere in between Corban and Brad, honestly. I'm with, you know, Brad and Corban on the fact that Kevin Durant's one of the most talented scorers of all time. No question. Little concerned about his injury history, but I think, you know, that's really in the back of my mind more than the forefront. My biggest problem with them, though, is their defense. I mean, that offense is going to score. I mean, TJ Warren off the bench, buckets. Patty off the bench, buckets. KD and Kyrie, no secret. They're 2 of the best bucket gators we have in the game today. But where's the defense coming from? You know, there's going to be a lot of reliance on Ben Simmons. And I'm a big Ben Simmons believer. I really believe that he's exactly what the team needs. You know, a versatile defender. He's a terrific playmaker. Take that responsibility off of Kyrie and KD. But might be just a tad too much responsibility on him on the defensive end. You know, he's only one man. You know, he's not your traditional rim protector, even though he is 6'10". So, you know, I would say that I think they can make it work. But if making it work is, you know, a championship, I would definitely have my reservations, but I wouldn't be shocked if they won a playoff series or maybe even 2. Absolutely not. So I'm still pretty high on the Nets.
And well done on your first response to the on Beat the Buzzer. Yeah, a nice tapered response as well. Sort of picked the middle a little bit. A lot of Ben Simmons hype in this in the answer. I suppose we're going to have think about points after that. But firstly, who wants the rebuttal? Well, Brad wants it. Brad wants another minute.
I'll just say first, I can't get 3 points because of the Ben Simmons hype. So listen, I'll just say that. Right?
Fair. Yeah, it is fair. All right, Brad, kick us off with the rebuttal.
My basic injuries, his age, obviously, the dependability. Can you depend on Kyrie? Yeah, there's a lot of working pieces on this roster, and that's why health and availability is the most important factor in this. But I think the one thing that has really escaped, and even in this conversation and other conversations in the media, is truly the pressure on Steve Nash here to make it work. Yes, Marks has given Kyrie and KD everything they wanted, but still poor management as far as basketball savvy moves to support the roster. And the real question is, can Steve Nash make this work today? He doesn't really make good in-game adjustments, seasonal adjustments, doesn't have the command in the locker room and the huddle, it seems. So those are things that I'm going to be looking for as far as the success for the Nets this year.
I like it. And with 10 seconds left, succinct. I actually think, based on what I've heard, it's tough. I mean, Ben Simmons definitely rules Lucas out, even as my fellow countryman. I still think he has a lot to prove, and it's a bit of a watch this space sort of situation. I think I have to lean with Brad for that round. I do like the questions. I think I do. While everyone had good points, I think I lean most with Brad in that I think Kevin Durant and the reliability of the rest of the team is what's going to be questionable. So I don't know, watch your space. But so with that being said, I'm going to give 3 points to Brad. I'm going to give 1 to Lucas because of the Ben Simmons and being wishy-washy in the middle. And I suppose Corban with the 2. So round 1 in the books. Still plenty of time, plenty of opportunity to crawl back. And let's get into round 2. There's a bit of hype in it now, isn't there? There's a bit of sting when we delegate points. So question number 2. We have the Knicks. Apparently they're a team. They've been around for a while. We hear it all the time. Mecca of basketball, that sort of carry on. You know, last year they were like, oh, look at the Knicks. They're so exciting. They're doing stuff. They ended up not doing anything. What are the Knicks this year? In its current form, you know, there's a lot of, I suppose, a lot of rumors and like going around. But what are the Knicks this year, and what do we think? And Corban has been selected to kick us off, talking about the New York Knicks, our favorite.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're someone's favorite, that's for sure. Bing bong, right? Totally with it. Listen, the Knicks are an interesting squad. If you look at their offseason, breaking it down, I mean, obviously they came off to a horrific start with the draft, right? Had a first-round selection, yet somehow, being the Knicks, they end up drafting in the second round, right? Not a lot of Knicks fans are happy about that, hoping to add to the Knicks' young core. They did end up getting Trevor Keels from Duke. Pretty solid player, averaged 11 points last year. Could be a solid piece, you know, if Thibodeau plays him. In free agency is obviously where the Knicks made their biggest move. Jalen Brunson, 4 years, $104 million. Coming off of a really breakout year with Dallas, particularly in the playoffs, leading them in the first 2 rounds, you know, alongside Luka. I think he's a solid young guard. I think the interesting thing, though, is that he's going to be playing alongside RJ Barrett, who you would hope would get more of the ball, you know, as he's about to enter a extension eligible year. And you also still have, of course, Julius Randle. And you inked Mitchell Robinson, the often injured big man, to a 4-year, $80 million deal, right? And Isaiah Hartenstein's in the mix now as well. And it's just a lot going on with this Knicks team. I mean, Alec Burks, Nerlens Noel, 2 second-rounders went to Detroit. That was just to clear money to sign Jalen Brunson. And somehow the Knicks still have too many players who need the ball on a team where you can only have it one at a time, right? I don't know if, even if we grade the Knicks offseason, I give it a C personally. They got what they wanted. There's something to be said for that. If you look at the teams who finished in the top 6 in the East last year, Heat, Celtics, Bucks, 76ers, Raptors, Bulls. 2 more, Nets, Hawks. All those teams, to me, in some iteration, are going to be right back in that same grouping. That 8 is, in my mind, is locked. Maybe the Bulls fall off, you know, a DeMar DeRozan regression. But bottom line, the Knicks finished 11th. I could see them being right back there again. And I don't know, it's kind of disappointing, but what are the Knicks? They're a play-in team. That's the answer, the short answer.
I love it. And with 2 seconds to spare, mate, succinct. I love it. That was great. Avoided the flute, the magic flute. We haven't seen one yet. Mate, again, lovely question. Lovely response. That's what I like. I like a succinct 1 minute and 58 response. I think that's spot on. Lucas, let's follow us up on that one. What are the New York Knicks, Stuart?
So to me, the New York Knicks are Evan Fournier and Julius Randle away from being, a relatively promising 25 and under team. I mean, you look at their roster, guys like RJ Barrett, Brunson is 25. I really like Quentin Grimes. I like the Hardin side signing. Corban didn't sound like he liked it that much, but I do think he's, honestly oft underrated insurance for Mitchell Robinson. But the problem is that they have Julius Randle, who dominates the ball and makes the most money on the team. You have Evan Fournier, who's making about $20 million a year, who largely needs the ball in his hands. He's a shot creator. He can catch and shoot, but he really needs the ball. And then lastly, you have a coach who is probably the last guy you want for an up-and-coming young team in Tom Thibodeau. I mean, he refuses to play rookies, and when he does play guys like RJ Barrett and Brunson, they're going to be seeing 46 minutes a game, maybe capping their potential, if they're trying to grow into the future. So with me, the Knicks, I'm with Corban, though, on the fact that they're looking at the 10-11 seed. Figure out how to sell off Julius Randle and Fournier potentially to, add – but as long as Thibodeau's there, I'm relatively concerned about the Knicks' future because it just doesn't align.
Yeah, I like that. Really interesting take on that with the different timelines. And again, well under time, plenty left on the clock, and I like that. I like the overlap. I mean, the Knicks. It's hard with the Knicks because we all think the same thing, but there's plenty of different conflicting points. Brad, finish us off. Question 2.
So what are the Knicks this year? I'm not going to give an Atlanta answer because a lot of people here in Atlanta want me to say some very mean things about the Knicks. They said a lot of mean things about Trae Young's hair, but I'm going to remove that from this conversation and be objective. I'm not going to harp on the additions. You clearly stated the additions and what this roster consists of currently in the Eastern Conference. But when you compare the Knicks to the rest of the Eastern Conference, the addition of Brunson, their draft picks, Hardenstein, as mentioned, and they're still trying to figure out if they will get Donovan Mitchell. I know those talks are heating back up again reportedly. And if they are getting Donovan Mitchell, I think there's still a fringe play-in team, 10th or 11th, which is the number you've been throwing around, if they are able to get Donovan Mitchell. I think Donovan Mitchell is another ball-dominant person on a roster. He has many hands in the pot who need the ball. But adding Donovan Mitchell, imagine you're going to – it's not going to help you. It's not going to help you get that much better. They're going to be battling with Cleveland, who has a better roster at this point, Atlanta, who has a better roster. Debatable for some people. Charlotte has accordingly a better roster, but obviously with the off-the-court problems with some of their personnel, who knows what they'll look. So I think 10th is best case scenario. They're better rosters and better situations to this point. They don't have a coach that is outdated. I mean, Naaman Millen's a little bit outdated, but I mean, Tibbs is worse. They don't have disgruntled stars. Cough, cough, Julius Randle. The Knicks are going to be out of the playoffs for a second straight year, whether they get Donovan Mitchell or not. They've regressed as a team after year one. They just don't have the right person at the helm, in my opinion. And until they get a new coach or Randle or a combination of both, they're going to continue to be the Knicks that we know.
Oof, right on the buzzer. He is just the master of beating that buzzer on this one. Interesting takes as well. The rebuttal, while I think about who I'm going to give the points to, who wants another minute? Corban, take it away.
I mean, I want to tie us all in a bow. I feel like, I set the standard here on these Knicks being the play-in team. Kidding. But looking at where they are, right? Lucas brought up as well, just to answer Lucas about Isaiah Hartenstein. I like Hartenstein. I think he's a great backup big. We saw the value he had with the Clippers. Honestly, we saw in the G League in Houston too, right? But my issue is this. That signing is emblematic of everything the Knicks did on this offseason. Great player. But for that contract, I don't know. It's a lot of coin for a backup big. Nice passing in flashes, but he's not closing games for you, right? I mean, if he is, you're a playing team, the Clippers last year. I'm sorry. Also, same thing with Jalen Brunson. Love the player. The coin, that's a lot of money. I'm just saying for what you're getting. You could say the same thing with Mitchell Robinson. Like, everyone the Knicks have gotten. Is it the New York Knicks or are we the Oklahoma City Thunder? Like, we shouldn't be paying a premium in a big market for backup players to be playing major coin. And that's what the Knicks have been doing. And that's why I think they're where they're going to be.
Ooh, spicy takes. I did like that, and I think that actually, I think the rebuttal gives you an unfair advantage because it's like that last lingering moment in your mind, and so I like that. I did like that, and I think I'm probably leaning the most towards Corban on this one. So I'm going to give him 3. I'm going to give Lucas 2 on that one because I liked his take about Julius Randle and Brad. Sorry, mate, the Atlanta versus, even though you tried to take that hat on, I could feel it. I could feel the spite. And while we love it, I had to delegate the points somehow. So 3 to Corban, 2 to Lucas, 1 to Brad. The final round, question 3. And this is a bit of an open-ended one, so it makes it even harder, especially to judge, because they could all be different. And there's no yes or no. It's like, well, either I agree with you or I think you're full of it. But question number 3 is, and this is it, who is your dark horse team this year? Who is the most underrated team? Who's going to exceed their expectations? Lucas is going to kick us off on this one. Could be any team. Could be a team that you think is going to make the playoffs. Could be a team that, is just going to do better than you. Who knows?
Was a fan of a different team, this would still be my choice. Okay, cat's out of the bag. It's the New Orleans Pelicans. Look, Brad, I see you looking at me like that. I swear, I truly believe this. Okay. I really believe in Brandon Ingram as, being able to reach that upper echelon of being one of the best players, but best 15 players in the NBA. Herb Jones, defensive monster in only his rookie year. He's only going up from here. CJ McCollum gives him a guy who in the half court can get an absolute bucket. We know that's what CJ does. He's a bucket getter. They were kind of lacking a point guard. And, for my money, I think they took a guy who can absolutely grow, into that point guard, and Dyson Daniels. 6'8", tenacious defender, great decision maker. I think that is perfect for what they need. Oh, and lest I forget, the player who did not play last year and who has been the most efficient player we've seen in a long time when it comes to scoring without a 3-point shot in Zion Williamson. I mean, we all know the player he's capable of being, and I think with him, B.I., CJ, Herb Jones, guys like Trey Murphy, I'm a big Valanciunas guy. Honestly, I mean, they have a really, terrific roster, I think, through the 8 spots, and they're young too. So they can grow. Maybe that's why people are sleeping on them. CJ's the vet in the house. But for me, the best players on the team are B.I. and Zion. So, if B.I. takes the leap, I think he's going to take. I mean, we already saw him against the Suns, really show who he really is. I'll say this right now. You can't tell me if they had Zion in that playoff series, they are packing up the Suns and sending Chris Paul on his merry way to retirement. So, I absolutely am a big Pelicans guy this year. And I swear it's not just because the host of the show is the New Orleans Pelicans fans. I truly believe that. So I'm done.
4 seconds left on the clock. Succinct, poetic, marvelous answer. I mean, I couldn't have said it any better myself. And early, just I don't know. It's like you live in my brain. But no biases here, guys. It'll all be completely objective, I swear. Who's going next on this one? Brad, why don't you kick us off for the second response? Your underrated team.
So when I looked at underrated, when you said dark horse, I'm thinking dark horse to win a championship. This team may not be underrated compared to, New Orleans Pelicans, but this is a team, when you think of a really loaded Eastern Conference, a lot of people are not talking about them. It's because they somewhat have had the cleanest offseason when you think about it. And I'm going to go for the Philadelphia 76ers. I mean, unlike Brooklyn, the Nets, who had to have that ultimatum meeting with KD as far as keeping him there, And although their odds to win it all is higher than the Philadelphia 76ers, I think everyone in Philly is on the same page. I mean, we've seen it with the work that Harden is putting into his body this offseason. We much better shape. He took a pay cut to help bolster the roster, especially defensively. You added D'Anthony Melton. You add Daniel House. You still have Embiid and Harder as your main staple guys, and you have someone in PJ Tucker who can hold them accountable defensively, but also help to space the floor out as well. And you have Maxey, you have, I just think that because they seem bought in as a team early in the process, everyone kind of knows what to expect going in the camp. And this team was already 12th in defensive rating, and they got better defensively this offseason. So I can bet you they're going to be better this year, barring injuries. And they were 9th last year in opponents' points per game. So if they can effectively use Tobias Harris and they still have Matisse Thybulle on the team, I think they have the continuity, and they've been knocking at the door as far as MVPs with Embiid and obviously in the Eastern Conference. Depending on health and how the East shakes out, we know they're a great regular season team, but they have the toughness to match it with Miami, Milwaukee, and Boston, and they have the personnel defensively to give the Nets fits. So I'm going to go the 76ers as an underrated team this year.
Yeah. Continuation is the key. You're being able to keep guys together and being able to play together, learn how to, be able to read each other on the court. James Harden putting that effort in. I really like that take. And, as a dark horse to even win it all, I definitely think Philly, if they can all stay healthy and pull it all together, could be a very, very dangerous team this year. I like that take, Brad. I really do. So to finish off, the final one before we have one rebuttal is Corban. What is your dark horse team?
I thought about this, y'all, and I was going to go the Lucas route, sweeten up the Judge a little bit, soften them up, give them what they want to hear. I was going to go the Brad route, fair, nuanced take, but a team, 76ers, okay, right? And then I thought, let's go bold. Let's go Popeye's chicken sandwich. Not Popeye's, let's go Church's chicken sandwich, the underrated treat. We're going to go with the underrated team. It's Los Angeles Lakers. And here's why. Hold up, dog. I see eye rolls. I see all of this. Let me tell you why. Great stories are built off of redemption, a comeback story. Everyone likes that, right? We saw the Redeem Team. All the noise has been made with the new documentary coming out. We saw, Popeye's spicy chicken sandwich after the first one had its moment. We like a comeback story, right? You have LeBron James and AD. First off, you're building around one of the top two. They're great. I'm just saying, they're great. If you're trying to find 5 two-man duos, you're not finding 5 better than LeBron and AD. But if you look at the rest of this roster, you got players who have something to prove. You got Lonnie Walker, fresh off 4 years in San Antonio, signed for 1 year to prove himself, try to make good. You got Russell Westbrook, Hall of Famer, who had one of the worst seasons ever last season, wanted to redeem himself. Stanley Johnson really wanted to find his footing in the league. Taylor Horn-Tucker, same thing. Kendrick Nunn missed all last year with injury in a contract year. You had guys who are going to sell out, work hard, and really try to bond with one of the greatest players of all time and one of the top 10 players in the NBA right now. Right now, we can look at them being a brand new team, mismatched pieces. We didn't even go into the fact that they can make trades, right? Utah's a trade prospect now, Pat Beverly out there. Indiana, imagine they get Miles Turner. The Lakers have some flexibility to make some moves. Will LeBron James signed his 2-year extension? But they also have some guys that if they're going to play, they're going to put their hearts out there. And if you play in a team with their backs against the wall, they're scary. They're even scary if they got LeBron James.
Oof. Right before the buzzer, Los Angeles Lakers is a bold choice. Such a bold choice. And, yeah, okay. I get where you're coming from. Lots of interesting points. I have no words. Who would like to do a rebuttal? Yeah, Lucas, finish it off. More Pels chat would be great.
Yeah, so I just want to say, Corban, I think you made a compelling argument for the team with the most to prove in the NBA, as opposed to, the most underrated. I do think Anthony Davis could have a bounce back season. He's got to prove it. Okay. Russell Westbrook could have a bounce back season. Got to prove it. Lonnie Walker, got to prove it, So I think that was a very compelling case. I just think it was, for a different argument entirely. Brad, I do like your argument a little better. I like the moves that they made, bringing in Melton, bringing in PJ Tucker to shore up the defense. But as Lyle mentioned, health. big question for Embiid and Harden, not necessarily something you can rely on. And also, I mean, they have to go through two of probably the three best teams in the NBA in the East. I don't know if you disagree with that, but I'm thinking about the Milwaukee Bucks and the Boston Celtics. So I do agree they're a tad underrated, but, I just don't see it happening for Philly.
Ooh, yeah, spicy rebuttal. Being able to just dissuade my opinion on both other takes. And you know what? It probably worked. But it really was. All three of those answers I honestly thought were very well thought out, well executed, and I did agree with all three of them in different respects. So I suppose that comes down to biases as to who gets the point. Yeah, there's a few eye rolls in that. No, in terms, it's hard because the definition of dark horse was different for all three of you, and the expectation was different. We knew this was going to happen with this question. Points I liked, I think Lucas is spot on. I think the Pels are going to exceed expectations, I think. But then there's also a lot of noise about the expectations being super high. Zion coming back, CJ McCollum being down there. What can they do? The team from top to bottom is stacked. There's players that were on the Lakers last year that couldn't get a game for the Pels. So, that makes it really tough. And they're starting for the Lakers. But anyway, we won't get into that. So it makes it tricky because on one hand, yeah, they could be amazing. But on the other hand, they need to meet some expectations that the national media are now backing them in. From Corban's side of things, I mean, the Lakers, yeah, they've got a lot to prove. They've had limited resources through their own bad management. That means that they can't trade for people. It means you're relying on aging superstars. Heaps to prove. Russell Westbrook should have the biggest chip on his shoulder of anyone. And if he can be half of what he was 5 years ago, even with the Wizards, look out. Darvin Ham, I think, has to be the missing piece to put all this together. When you look at Brad's with Philly 76ers, I, again, like the fact that they've stayed together. They've gone and got defensive players in Melton, PJ Tucker, shored up their shortcomings. You've got Matisse Tybalt, good Australian as well. You need an Australian to win championships. And we've seen that's proven. What do I do? What do I do? Because it makes it really tough. I'm not going to be biased. I've decided. Yeah, Brad?
Because I was going to say, if we're talking about two teams that have more quote-unquote motivation to succeed than the 76ers, I think you, in explaining that, basically described how we're underselling the motivation of the 76ers, who have been closer than both of these franchises, and more consistent than both of these franchises. I think you basically answered your own question.
How have the 76ers been closer to the 2020 world champion of the Lakers?
But missed the playoffs.
We've had some adversity, yes. And now
everybody has adversity.
And now people are sleeping on us. Now people are sleeping on these Lakers. I'm sorry, we're giving our last minute rebuttals. I thought, hey, all right.
Just say
we're all in there.
All right, I'm just saying. We all right.
All right. The results are in. We've had PwC as auditors editing all of these for legitimacy. They've brought the briefcase out with all. You would have seen this. It's all behind the scenes. They were just my house. It's the whole thing. The points for this final round: 3. Actually, no, we'll start with 1. 1 goes to Corban because the Lakers. 2 goes to Lucas because I agree, but I also, I don't know, it's tough. I get hometown bias. 3 points to Brad on that one, which means I've got to do some adding up. The winner of today, the first time that we've had a winner on Beat the Buzzer in episode 2. So, short-lived winnerless episode run. That means Brad finishes on 7. That means Corban finishes on 6. And it means Luca finishes on 5. So the winner of today from the clutch, thanks to Philly, it's got to be Brad. Congratulations. Outrageous. I tell you what, there will be some recounts. We'll have to get the auditors back in to check everything over again. But as it stands at the moment, congratulations, Brad, for winning. You did well. Lucas, I'm sorry. The Pels, it was convincing, and you had me. And maybe if you had gone second or third, I would have been there.
He flew too close to the sun.
Tough.
Flew too close to the sun.
So how do we feel,
and
guys?
I truthfully do believe they're unfair.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll start. That was terrific.
I truthfully believe
terrific,
the Lakers
honestly.
didn't get a fair shot.
They will never get a fair shot.
Never.
They will never get a fair shot.
I lost the minute I stepped up here. No, I'm playing. Sorry, Lucas. Continue. My mistake.
No, I had a blast, man. Even though I come in last, which is disappointing. Very competitive person. Okay, it was my first run through. I think I did all right. I definitely want to, do some longer answers. I really was a little short on the time there. That was probably my biggest fault. But, I got to hand it to Brad. His case of the Sixers was pretty convincing. I got to give it to him. So I'm not really mad with the results, but I had a blast, man, and I can't wait to do this again. Absolutely.
Too right. Brad, feelers from the winners podium. Any final comments?
I just want to put people to put respect in the 76. I'm just kidding. Great panels as always. Shout out to Corban and Lucas. They did their thing this week. I did tell Lucas before I got on I was going to bring it. So definitely was ready to serve this week, and I want to continue to serve. That's that Southern hospitality down here in Atlanta.
Corban, any final thoughts before we wrap up?
I feel the most like LeBron James I've ever felt. The odds were truly stacked against me. Even so, I still try to put up a triple-double, but I lost. And, right now my legacy's there. I'm weary. I'm tired. I came in battle-tested, but it's been a lot. But next week I'm going to bounce back, and it's going to be like 2016. All right? So, yeah. All in all, fun as always with my guys.
Hashtag, episode 3 season or something? Is that
Washed,
what we're looking
Washed
at?
King.
Washed King.
Episode 3,
yeah,
Washed King.
That's what I thought. Yeah. All right, guys, this has been Beat the Buzzer. I'll put all of the details of the guys at the end of the show. So if you want to check them out, go and check them out on their Twitter handles, their shows. We have Lucas, who's the host of the Boston Celtics podcast for Sports Ethos. We have Brad, host of the Atlanta Hawks. We've got Corban, who's doing a bit of everything, but also the Roundtable Ramble. Check it all out. There's plenty going on, guys, and check us all out on Twitter. I'm Lyle Swithenbank, host of, also the Sports Ethos New Orleans Pelicans podcast. Check us all out on Twitter. Go follow the shows. There's heaps going on. This has been fun, and we'll leave it at that. Bye for now. Thanks so much for tuning into the first episode of Beat the Buzzer. You can find all the other episodes coming soon, each week, live and free. So go and check us out. And also check us out on Twitter at Lyle Swithenbank, at Sports Ethos is where you can find everything else. So go and check that out on Twitter, and we'll see you there. Bye for now.